There are people now who oppose the California and Seattle bill. They bring in the issue of Hindu phobia. Why is that they are afraid? Why is that the Indians in Britain afraid of any law equating racism with caste? This is another issue. I always thought, why is that they should oppose? Why is that the NRI goes from here, case takes a caste also? Before they board the plane, they buy some dal powder, avocado, pickle, everything they buy. They also carry the caste along with that. I always used to say that when people want to go to Kashi, they'll have to give up one good thing which they think dear to them. Why not they give up caste when they go to America or any Western country? But they don't. They carry everything along with them. I asked one friend in Britain, now 2 generations you've been there, how do you make arrangements for marriage? How do you look for brides? Then that person told me, no problem, Chandru. We have a website. The website name is nambalava.com. So you can get always alliances. This is how you get over the caste. Why is that the British or the Americans now afraid of this? We have in our country, he has given the background of various laws, non-discrimination laws, and the various debates. One good thing, important thing is that the colonial documentation is very attractive. Minute details are available. But the post-colonial, there is no records at all. Many things are said oral, or the documents are missing or not available. In fact, he had a struggle even to see the judgments of the Supreme Court in Kilvanmani case, even to see the judgment in Belchi case. The documents are not there. Mr. Thirumavalavan, leader of Mr. Ravi Kumar's party, he was asked, why are you opposing EWS quota? Do you think poor people of other communities cannot come? He said, I have never opposed this. You make education, health free in this country. We don't need a reservation at all. The reservation is required because of limited opportunities. Otherwise, we don't need recognition. That's why the government, by introducing this kind of a devious plan, and then on the other hand, shouting from the housetop by saying, Vasudeva Kudumbam, they are trying to fool us. This is what the same fooling by Mohan Bhagavat. His own other comrades, like our governor in Madras, governor's house, who keeps on saying Sanatana is the greatest contribution of South. I don't know where he got this idea. He always keeps saying this everywhere. And we have some judges like G.R. Swaminathan, who says we should have a Hindu jurisprudence. If you do not have the population ratio as in the constitution, this constitution has to disappear. And we have some Hindu saints who are talking about the Hindu constitution, where the Muslims and Christians will have no place of voting. They can hear. Somebody asked them, what about Christian Muslim? See, they can live here and do business, but they will never vote. They will be defranchised. So there is a greater attempt to divert or derail this constitution. That's most important. I don't want to speak on the book. I know Manoj is staring at me. First copy he sent it to me, which I gave it to Ravi Kumar. So he was disappointed. Then I told him I purchased a book from Amazon, I'll read it. So every week he'll send a message saying, have you read it? Now I'll have to answer his queries whether I read it or not. I can give you enough anecdotes whether I read it or not. Without going into the details of the book, I want to tell you a few things. The timing of the book is most important. In fact, Manoj has put in his entire valiant effort in bringing this book. Even to deliver a child, normal time period is only 10 months. He has taken 7 years. It's a very hard-earned child of Manoj, and there is no doubt about it. He has got details for he looks for the details, and these details are there. Mr. Rajendran has read out several anecdotes. I don't want to say that. How this is important today is my theme. This 2023 has got several significant incidents relating to caste. Vaikam centenary is one. There have been enough write-up on Vaikam centenary. Second was RSS boss Mohan Bhagavat made a startling speech in Bombay in Marathi on the centenary of Ravidas. He said that Hinduism doesn't believe in caste. It's a creation of the Pandits. This is what, for the first time, I could see RSS coming on record to say that the Hinduism separate from casteism, and therefore it's all a creation of some Pandits. But That statement did not last long because the next day there is a barrage of attack. So he said, when I said Pandit, I mean intelligentsia, not the Brahmins. Therefore, he has qualified that statement. But it is significant because a section of the RSS today feel that it's high time to talk about caste. Caste is a very important factor. So this millennium saw two important things. RSS start talking about caste. Even Marxists talk about caste. Therefore, there are the issue of class and caste assumes importance. It is in that sense, I think, the timing of the book is more important for more than one reason. The first question is that the Seattle passing a law on caste discrimination, followed by California bill on BS 403. Now, it's very surprising that a country which is far away, a country which is a Christian country, could think of the minorities and the nuances of caste and discrimination. The caste has always been a fascinating subject for the Westerners. Until the Mandal controversy started, many of the youngsters may not know what is caste because it was discussed, and caste and merit and meritorian principle, everything came to open, and there was a blatant agitation against the reservation for OBCs. The castes keep coming. Even before the Mandal, there are some other American sociologists. They had a study on caste in it. It's for them to, some fashionable thing to read one caste, some Nadar caste or a Natukote Chettiar caste. Maybe it is their part of the sociology to highlight the caste and the upward mobility of a section of the people. This is another view of looking at it. But today the two bills that have been approved in Seattle and in California makes a significant departure that the caste discrimination has become an offense which can be punished. Now, who is opposing this? That's more important. The All American Hindu Foundation, biggest NRA Hindu outfit which finances many of the activities in India, was the first opponent to oppose, calling it as a Hindu phobia. So when you talk about caste, it also brings a equally opposite reaction. That's a Hindu phobia. And why is that? They are worried. And today the Western world talks about caste and discrimination. England, the British have passed a law, not yet given effect to. 2 years before that, we had a conference in Johannesburg where there is a serious attempt by the NGOs to bring race and caste together. And the first person who opposed was the Indian ambassador who opposed this, saying that it is not acceptable to us. Therefore, when you keep on questioning this issue of caste, that today's main task is to understand what is caste. We do not have enough books. We do not have enough research studies, especially when we talk about the British colonial rule. We always think they are very fair, not in their color, in their approach, and they are always fair. But that's not true at all. On the celebration of the 150th year of the Madras High Court, I wrote an article in the Hindu. I said everybody gives credit to the British approach to the legal issues, but nobody has studied the real impact of the British in India, preserving their colonial rule and contributing to the well-being of the colonial rule. Maybe there are some exceptions. And this book gives in numbers the kind of approach. The only difference today, which I also feel sad, that coming from South, we have been talking about caste, communal GO, then the first constitutional amendment, and the fight to retain socially and educationally backward classes, and the social justice through affirmative action. So many things we have been saying from the South. But we have never got a book that has been produced by Manoj Bitta, who's from the North, admittedly. I am not splitting North-South. I am saying the intellectual work to study caste and especially the court and the legal framework of caste and the history of the last 2 centuries. It's a very important study, and Manoj Bitta has done that. And this is a very important academic intelligentsia work that we have in our hand. Now, how does it help? There are people now who oppose the California and Seattle bill. They bring in the issue of Hindu phobia. Why is that they are afraid? Why is that the Indians in Britain afraid of any law equating racism with caste? This is another issue. I always thought, why is that they should oppose? Why is that the NRI goes from here, case takes the caste also? Before they board the plane, they buy some dal powder, avaka, pickle, everything they buy. They also carry the caste along with that. I always used to say that when people want to go to Kasi, they'll have to give up one good thing which they think dear to them. Why not they give up caste when they go to America or any Western country? But they don't. They carry everything along with them. I asked one friend in Britain, now 2 generations you've been there, how do you make arrangements for marriage? How do you look for brides? Then that person told me, no problem, Chandru. We have a website. The website name is namalava.com. So you can get always alliances. This is how you get over the caste. Why is that the British or the Americans now afraid of this? We have in our country, he has given the background of various laws, non-discrimination laws, and the various debates. One good thing, important thing is that the colonial documentation is very attractive. Minute details are available. But the post-colonial, there is no records at all. Many things are said oral, or the documents are missing or not available. In fact, he had a struggle even to see the judgments of the Supreme Court in Kilvanmani case, even to see the judgment in Belchi case. The documents are not there. Even the evidence recorded in the Sessions Court at Nagapatnam in Kilvanmani trial, we don't have. They have destroyed everything. You have only the judgment, nothing else. We are so good in preserving this record. Maybe we are guilty, therefore we are hurried to bury all these things. Of course, there is now talk about digitization. But the original judgment, the original trial documents, except the trial court judgment, we don't have a recorded evidence. Today, if you want to speak about these judgments, how do you speak about the judgment? In fact, he has made a brilliant analysis of the Madras High Court judgment. I won't go into details of that Kilvanmani. But I could say that the documentation that he has referred to the pre-colonial days is very important, because there are many icons. Somebody mentioned about Macaulay, then Monroe. All that we are household names in the people who are studying in school, the history books, and even others. Macaulay is, everybody knows Macaulay. But then, what is the real background? There are many characters who are reactionary, like he was telling about Motilal Nehru. Later, they took a different stand. We know about Satyamurthy, Tamil Nadu Congress Committee. He has also opposed the casteism. At the same time, he has supported Devadasi system. Therefore, people played contradictory roles. We do not, how to fix them in a particular slot, we do not have. Even I could say, there are many people claim credit to shoulder cloth agitation, that we are responsible here. If you read this, you will know, even within the British, there were differences. Even within the church, there were differences. Even within the Maharaja of Travancore, there are a lot of ups and downs. And the statue of Madhav Rao, the Diwan of Travancore, which is there before the Kerala Secretariat, he had the role that he played. People say he is a father of reform in India. He was touted as the greatest architect, taken into Congress party for his role. But then if you read this, you know what plays it. Therefore, it is something like demystifying, putting the history in the proper slot. In that way, he has done great work, which at least in the last 200 years we can see who are the real reformers and what kind of a role that they have played. And in terms of law, let us forget about other social movements. The law is also a crucial issue which takes the issue to further. It is in that sense that this book is a signal contribution to study of caste, which we are lacking so far. And the South also, such a masterpiece is not there. But why is that the American Indians or the NRIs afraid of such a law? I always used to think why. This question keeps haunting me. Then I found that from the Constitution India, we have a 1955 Protection of Civil Rights Act. We have 1987 SC/ST Atrocities Prevention Act. We have the amendment of 2016 on the very same act, giving it some teeth to the act. We are used to much more draconian law in India. We are not afraid. Not one Indian opposing saying these laws are all bad. Of course, some people took to court and the court rejected them. The court said The so-called allegation of misuse is all nonsense. And the time has told us that the Dalits in this country, the 1/5 of the Indian population, has been neglected. Not only neglected, they have been suppressed and oppressed. And therefore, this law is a necessary. This is what the Supreme Court has said in the Kailash Vidyarthi's case. Now, we are not afraid, but they are afraid. Only reason is their laws will work, and we know nothing will work in this country because we are the majority. This complacency, how to get over caste, we know how to get over caste. You know the IIT director of the 90s, who was very strong criticism of the Mandal Commission and trying to protect the pristine glory of IIT. He said that Indra Sen, I can give you the name, he wrote an article that perhaps all the biggest equality will come by putting people in Pallavan transport buses, metro transport. That's the greatest equality in city. Everybody can get to the bus. Maybe he's right, maybe he's not wrong. In fact, I would say Article 15 or 14 put together is the greatest blow on the Sanadana, the greatest blow on caste system, the greatest blow on Varnashrama, or at least on paper. People are not saying anything more than that. In fact, one cinema, Hindi cinema which came on Article 15, the director was interviewed. Why is that you have chosen 15? There are 397 articles in the Constitution. Why is that you want to go for 15? He said that's the heart of the Constitution. Perhaps in the 2000 years of our noted history, we never had such an assurance from the state, a unified state comprising of the entire subcontinent, that we will not discriminate on the ground of caste and religion. This declaration, which is the greatest contribution of Baba Sahib Ambedkar, who took pains to draft this portion of the Constitution, that we have. But as the previous, we have so many laws, but nothing is being there on implementation. This assurance, this faith in us, we don't oppose these draconian laws. But whereas the American NRIs are afraid of such laws. They don't want such laws to be used against them. Therefore, they talk about Hindu phobia. And therefore, this book today is more useful to tell our NRIs, read about caste. It's not a myth. Many discussion of the youth, if you go and ask him. In fact, when I was a judge, I was hearing some other cases where little land were taken for Harijan use. There's a special act in Tamil Nadu, 1978 Act, Act 31 of 1978, for expanding some roads or giving some more housing or a road to the cremation ground or an expanded cremation ground. The government assured power to take a small portion of land. There have been hundreds of stay orders. So I consolidated all these cases, started disposing of those cases, saying that there is no legal issue involved. The Advocate General appeared before me and said, "My Lord, I can understand your concern, but these are all things of the past." This is what everybody today says. When we talk about caste, either they just want to put it under the carpet or deny its existence. Even our own children, they come and ask what caste we belong to. We feel embarrassed that how did they get that idea. Today, caste is an important issue. But then what happens today, when I told this to the Advocate General, he was trying to convince me, these are all the things of the past. There is nothing to become sensitive about. Then I didn't know what to, I dismissed his case, but then the same evening I went to Landmark, bought a book by Viswanathan, The Caste Atrocities in Tamil Nadu. It's a very good book. I sent a book with a note to the Advocate General saying, please read this. Let us continue our dialogue after reading this. So the night he called me and said, I'm sorry, my lord, I never knew. It's an eye-opener. This is for a city person who also comes once upon a time from Pune. The idea is not that they do not know. The idea is by denying it, you can just wish it away. That's a question of thing. We are refusing to talk about caste today, either the past or the present or the future. And therefore, for those people, the youth of this new millennium, they'll have to read about our past. It's not the past alone. It's also the continuing. That is why the NRI, the American Hindu Foundation, is the most vociferous opponent of the caste discrimination laws passed by the American assemblies. And therefore, it is in that sense, what is first required is an intellectual database on caste. Then we can think about abolishing it or bringing affirmative action or somebody is justified or not justified. Now, before anybody could even think of the caste in India, The 103rd Amendment to the Constitution has been made by the Modi government. The Modi government keeps on saying Vasudeva Kudumbam. How many people understood what is Vasudeva Kudumbam? We do not know. But then he keeps on saying that. Now, 103rd Amendment is a classic case how they can simply put everything under the carpet. You bring a 10% quota for an economically weaker section. Now, the Supreme Court has upheld it, except 2 judges, minor differences. Now the review petition is dismissed. So they are very happy. But then we are forgetting the point. All along, the reservation, the affirmative action has been opposed on the ground. It was caste-based. All along, we took pains to explain that's not caste. Caste could be an indicator of the social economic backwardness. Even the Mandal adopted a 12 indices for the social backwardness, 12 indices for the educational backwardness, and then 12 out of 24 will be the indicator of a caste as a whole to bring in within the reservation. It's a scientific that has been upheld by the Supreme Court in Indira Sani's case. But all along we have been saying it is a class. Now the same class, they are using the other way around, the argument by saying EWS 10%. An amendment is brought in under the same Article 15 and 16. Most important thing is what is SCBC, the twin test that has been assiduously read into the Constitution by amendments. Now it has been torpedoed by saying there will be a 10%. Who are these 10%? Nobody knows. These are all the people who are hitherto not availing the benefit of reservation. Therefore, today, blatantly, there is an upper caste reservation of 10%. By excluding others into the 10% quota, even though they may be economically poor, at least 2 judges voiced their concern. Now we are still insisting upon that. The review petition has not disturbed that. Therefore, the 2 dissenting opinion also goes. Now, what is important today is they have satisfied that group for more than one reason. Now, when we talk about caste, they talked about class. Now we talk about class, they are talking about caste. Today, the caste has overtaken class, not by us, but by them. Therefore, the debate is open. Today, nothing is hidden. We must tell our children, we must tell our own grandchildren that this is what India is all about. When people talk about caste, in fact, Amazon used to arrange a lecture, a Dalit activist was made to speak. The entire staff gave a representation that this talk should not be there. Can you hush it up? Can you just ignore? Now, Manoj Mita, thanks to Manoj Mita, we have opened the subject. I think this book has to be taken to wider audience. In fact, Mr. Thirumavalavan, leader of Mr. Ravi Kumar's party, he was asked, why are you opposing EWS quota? Do you think poor people of other communities cannot come? He said, I have never opposed this. You make education, health free in this country. We don't need a reservation at all. The reservation is required because of limited opportunities. Otherwise, we don't need recognition. That's why the government, by introducing this kind of a devious plan, and then on the other hand, shouting from the housetop by saying Vasudeva Kudumbam, they are trying to fool us. This is what the same fooling by Mohan Bhagavat. His own other comrades, like our governor in Madras governor's house, who keeps on saying Sanatana is the greatest contribution of South. I don't know where he got this idea. He always keeps saying this everywhere. And we have some judges like G.R. Swaminathan, who says we should have a Hindu jurisprudence. If you do not have the population ratio as in the constitution, this constitution has to disappear. And we have some Hindu saints who are talking about the Hindu constitution, where the Muslims and Christians will have no place of voting. They can hear. Somebody asked them, what about Christian Muslim? See, they can live here and do business, but they will never vote. They will be defranchised. So there is a greater attempt to divert or derail this constitution. That's most important. Caste today assumes importance because it's also inevitably linked with our constitutional guarantee of Article 14, no discrimination, equal protection. 15, no discrimination by the state on caste and religion. 16, in public employment. Now these 3 articles together has destroyed the Sanatana, has destroyed the Varnashrama, at least legally. And today there is an attempt to revive this. And therefore, Manoj Mita book is a weapon in our hands to fight these reactionary forces. Thank you.